Hello, brothers and sisters. Hey, thanks for joining me today. I'm going to take a little bit of a different take on this one. This one's one I'm not sure how I feel about it. I still need to think about it a little bit, and maybe you guys can help me in the comments. NHS faces backlash over guidance extolling the benefits of first cousin marriage despite increased risk of birth defects. Normally, I feel I'm a libertarian, and so the government shouldn't really be interfering in things like marriages and things like that. I usually don't like the government involved in my business unless it's absolutely necessary, and people should just take care of things on their own, unless absolutely necessary. But this one's tricky, so let's see what it has to say, and then let me know what you guys think. Tory MP Richard Holden said the NHS should stop taking the knee to damaging and oppressive cultural practices. The NHS has faced criticism from Conservative MP after being accused of promoting the benefits of first cousin marriages. Okay, there's benefits? I didn't know that. Let's find out more. Despite well-documented concerns about the increased risk of birth defects, yeah, I thought that was pretty well established that we shouldn't really marry first cousins because of birth defects. You know, famously, the royals in Europe did it all the time. And I think, wasn't it Queen Victoria who had a couple of Waynes that were hemophiliacs? I think it's a fact that there's increased birth defect risks of marrying close family. Guidance published last week by NHS England's genomics education program suggests the benefits of first cousin marriage include stronger extended family support systems and economic advantages, okay? However, there are known risks associated with marrying a first cousin, including an increased likelihood of a child inheriting a recessive genetic disorder such as cystic fibrosis or thalassemia. Responding to guidance, Tory MP Richard Holden told the Mail on Sunday, our NHS should stop taking the knee to damaging and oppressive cultural practice. The Conservatives want to see an end to cousin marriage as a backdoor to immigration too, but Labour are deaf to these sensible demands. Sir Keir Starmer should stop running scared for the misogynistic community controllers and their quislings who appear in the form of cultural relativists, obsessed sociology professors, and ban a practice that the overwhelming majority from every community in Britain want to see ended for good. What do you guys think? Do most Britons want this ended? Because I find it interesting, and in the UK, it's legal to marry first cousins. There's no problem as long as everything's consensual from a legal standpoint. America is a little more prudish on it. It's about 50-50. About half of American states allow it with some potential restrictions, and about half do not allow it. I live in Texas. It's not allowed in Texas. If the majority are against it, then why is it the law? You would think in a democracy, the law would be the will of the majority, right? So yeah, tell me what you guys think. Should it be allowed? Should it not be allowed? Interesting. As of Monday, September 29th, it appears the guidance has been taken down from the website. Okay, so they got a lot of heat and decided we better take this down. The NHS guidance cites the Born in Bradford medical study, which suggests that more children are being born with certain genetic conditions in Bradford, an area with large British Pakistani population in which first cousin marriage is fairly common. Yeah, so see, that's the problem. If you're going to have a lot of kids with genetic birth defects, that's going to be more medical costs for the community. But on the flip side, if this is what these communities have always done, then that's normal. And, you know, if you go back to the very long time ago when people were in tribes and moved around in groups, those small groups, marrying your first cousin was probably very common. It's probably a fairly new thought that you shouldn't marry your first cousin. But again, it's probably also new that science has said it causes birth defects. Maybe people in the old days didn't know that. According to the study, a child of first cousins in Bradford had an 11% probability of diagnosed with speech and language problems compared to 7% with parents who are not related. Yeah, that's a problem. It also found a child of first cousins has a 54% chance of reaching a good stage of development compared to 64% with children whose parents are not related. However, the NHS guidance goes on to suggest that blaming first cousin marriage for genetic conditions is an oversimplification, that although children of first cousins have an increased chance of being born with a genetic condition, the increase is a small one, according to Professor Sam Odie. I'm sure that's debatable, but whether it's a small one or not. It notes that a child's chance of being born with a genetic condition is around 2 to 3%, which rises to 4 to 6 if they are the children of first cousins. Okay, so that is a small chance. If you agree with that study, I would really like to make sure that was a peer-reviewed study and it wasn't influenced to go a certain way just because we don't want to be seen as racists. We need to use real facts when we're making these kind of determinations and not bend the knee, so to speak, to cultural sensitivities. What are the facts? And then we make a decision based on those facts. The guidance calls for a balance between cultural sensitivity and scientific understanding, emphasizing the need to focus on genetic literacy, including education and voluntary screening, rather than advocating for an outright ban on the practice. All right, so yeah, how do I feel about this? Again, I have this libertarian bent where I generally don't like the nanny state, and I like let people do their own thing. And my caveats to that are usually as long as it's legal, as long as it's not harming other people and especially children, why do I care? Go do you. You want to marry your first cousin? Great, go do it. I don't care. To me, it's the same thing as gay marriage. I don't care. I'm not gay. I'm not going to marry a gay man. So why do I care if you do? To me, it's just like some guys prefer blondes, some guys prefer brunettes, some guys prefer dudes, some guys prefer their first cousin. I do get a small twinge about the kids, but I think it's probably better handled in the community. So better education to make sure people know that it causes birth defects. And then I'm completely okay with people shaming people about it. If the community doesn't like it and doesn't want it, that's fine. It's just I don't want the government. So if your religion is against it or something like that, I'm okay with that. It's the government that I don't want getting involved in it. So that's what I think. Let me know what you guys think. Is it okay in the UK for first cousins to get married? Should it be okay? If you like this, like and subscribe. If you didn't, don't watch me. Thanks. Bye.